are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Stan and Jack here, and we are doing Ask Us. Ask Us is a webinar that we do for subscribers to answer any questions you might have about the service, or you might want to ask a question about a specific instrument, or you might want to ask a specific question about a technique or whatever. Okay, so this is sort of like for subscribers, anywhere you want to go, we're going to make ourselves available and answer questions. So there's a questions tab. Please key in the questions that you have. Okay, we have one question, Jack, on gold and GDX. And just to cover off our disclaimer real quick. Okay, our disclaimer, basically we do what we do for educational purposes only. We don't issue trading signals. So anything we do here, we're trying to, teach you how to fish. We're not trying to give you a fish. That's kind of our basic philosophy. So, and that's one of the reasons for this webinar. It really is to, go over questions. If you're stuck in a trade or you don't know how to, do X, Y, or Z, this is a place to ask, okay? In our blog, of course, you guys know about our October. Every month we have a post on free webinars. So this month we got 2 free webinars. Let me get to the free webinar page. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, free webinar page. We have a webinar coming up in a week, basically, on using patterns in trading. Okay, we're going to be looking at patterns and talking about pattern recognition in trading and having it help you in terms of recognizing when a pattern ends and potential price targets and things like that. We're also going to do another one on defining a trading system, okay? And Jack and I both use trading systems. I use multiple systems at the same time, and you guys need to have your own. It's good to, add in what you learn from us, that's fine, but you need to have your own in terms of how you optimize your profits and how you manage risk, okay? So we will be going over that October 27th, so sign up for those. And I just wanted to talk over those 2 things, Jack, just so we have time for folks to key in questions. We have 2 questions now. And we have a question on gold and GDX, Jack. Do you have a chart ready? Jack? I think Jack is there. He's just muted right now.
Sorry, Stan. I'm just muted. No yeah, I was having a little trouble pulling it up, so I'm still a minute or 2 away, probably.
All right. Let me pull up gold here.
What is the question about gold?
Could you go over gold and GDX? Is the question.
Okay.
Want me to throw it to you?
All right. Yeah, may as well.
Okay. I'm throwing it to you. I'm going to pull up my gold chart as well. Gold is in a 5th wave, and I'll just give you my comments while Jack is getting his chart ready. Whenever you see a big impulse like what we've seen in gold, okay, and we were looking at like 88s or something like that, we blew right through that on the ECB news, okay? So that's a 3rd wave, very impulsive, and typically you get a retest or a lower low, which is where we are right now, and I like it long right where we're at. Okay, so those are my comments right now, Jack. And I said last night we could see 50s. We've done that. So anyway, so
yeah, I mean, I was saying on my video this morning, I said we'd break on this support here, and I said the obvious next level of support was the 200 DMA at 1256. That was 1255 this morning, but hey. And I said we had the 38.2 at 1350. And I said that was the support zone, and I said my concern with the long setup on gold was that we were so close to this really important little zone here, 1250 to 1255, and we often you'll just have to go down and hit it before anything else is going to happen, just because it has, once you get close enough, it has a sort of magnetic effect. We hit that today. The low was on here, yeah, 1251.80. That was totally in the zone. We've got I've got a hang on, let's just have a look. I can't show you the GC chart, but I'm just having a look at it now. Buy signals are intact. I've got a little double top that is going to fix on a move over 1259.75 with a target in the 1266.20 area, and I think the rally's on. This is a nice looking little low. I think it's probably going to hold. So I don't see any reason why not. It's on the buy signals. It reached the right area. It's got a bottoming pattern. It's all good. So I think this should take off here, and that's what I'm expecting it to happen. And maybe it's just be for a rally and then come back for a retest. I mean, that would be fairly routine anyway. And I've got to say, I've got a target for that rally. Either we're looking at a return to the scene of the crime, and really for me that's 1305 to 1315.
Yeah.
Or we would be testing the 150 DMA at 1290. Now I think the buy signal is telling us to probably favour the return to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that would be the usual target in any case. So so I'm long from 55, and you know, let's see how it goes from there. All right, I'm going to have a quick look at GDX. Yeah, sorry, it's just taking me a little. It was just giving me a screen that was doing nothing for a while. I'm pulling up the charts. So let's have a look at GDX. Now, I just want to say there is. I do have an alternate scenario where the precious metals break down a lot harder. I'm not expecting that to happen. We're not expecting that to happen, but it is worth bearing in mind. For instance, you could read this on GDX as a head and shoulders, with a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. I'm not reading it that way at the moment. I would say we had this little double top here, and the target was at 23. I was talking about that on Chart Chat yesterday, and we made that today. So that is the pennant target. The full pennant target was also at the same level. So we've made the GDX target. Could it go further? Yes. Does it need to? No. This is a nice 50 pack. We've got the channel. It's broken. It's gone back 50. This is an absolutely classic retracement. So this could be close to the low here. I think we'll probably see a rally. We may well see a retest after that. As I said, that would be entirely routine. And you quite often on these fib retraces get a double hit of the fib. So, but I think that's where I'm standing on there. GDX has made my targets that I've been talking about ever since that channel broke down. That's all fulfilled now, and we've reached, for me, what was the ideal area. And it's showing every sign of bottom there. Okay.
Okay, very good. I have nothing to add to that except we're in a fifth wave down, as I said, and frankly, I think we're going to turn. And I think the first target, of course, is the scene of the crime, and I couldn't agree with Jack more. Okay, for existing subscribers, what is the cost for the Big 5 stock analysis? So, okay, so if you go to your subscription page, what you will find on the subscription page is a discount code. Okay, that discount code is basically it's 20% off basically. So if you're an existing subscriber with an existing subscription, you could get the Big 5 stock analysis that we do, which is basically a video on Sunday, and you get stocks on. You get charts on Sunday and also then on Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, so and basically our calls on those have been just spectacular, especially with Apple and Amazon. So we'll see what happens, because we're looking for a big turn here in Amazon and also in Apple. So we're fixing to make a fairly decent downward movement, I think, in the next in the next couple of weeks. So so basically, I think, Jack, it's $19 off, something like that. So it's roughly 20%,
that's right. 20% off. It's down from 99 to $80.
Yep. So all that is a discount code. You go to the shopping cart, you key it in, and you get your discount. Okay. Okay. On oil, if it is heading higher to 52, does it need a back test 48-ish, or can it go directly? I'm expecting 52s after a back test. Okay. We have very strong negative divergence right now. It is beautiful. Okay, and I was short last night and I got stopped out, and I was short again today and I got stopped out, and I am short right now. Okay, and I'm not saying that to advertise that I'm right all the time. I mean, I've been wrong twice on the trade. Okay, but I like the setup. Okay, I see a very good back test coming, and then a very nice rally up to 52s, and then after 52s, I see us going much lower, because basically 52s, all it is it's a channel. Okay, it's a bear channel. So I'm looking for a lower low, lower than what was the low, Jack? Was it 40, 41, something like that? But I'm looking for a target in that area, basically. So that's,
we had a 39.25 and a 43.
Yep.
With the two lows.
Yep. Any comments on oil? You want to add to that, Jack?
Oil does this sometimes. It goes and it goes and it goes, and just to the point where everyone's throwing in the towel because it's never going to turn. It turns.
Yeah.
And it goes like a rocket. And It's something I've seen on oil regularly when it's not feeling in a particularly friendly mood, and it's doing it now. Does this mean it won't turn? No, that's not what it means usually. It just means that it's going to make you sweat. So the end of the high window is tomorrow.
That's right.
Generally respects those. We've got a lot of negative divergence, and I'm gritting my teeth.
Yeah.
And thinking I wish it wouldn't do this, but not an expectation that it's not going to turn.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And there's something to learn here too, which is if you look at the formation, it's a flat, okay? Flats are notorious for being, how can I say this, unpredictable. You know, you can measure it to the 1.618, typically a flat, but you know what? It doesn't always work that way, okay? And what are we doing right now? We're extending beyond the 1.618, which is just par for the course for oil or natural gas or RBOB or whatever. So they do that a lot. So so recognize the formation you're in. You're in a flat. It's going to extend. If it's going to extend, it's going to extend past the 1.618, which is where we are. So it is extended right now. It needs a back test. So we'll see what happens. Okay, can you describe your futures contract scaling plan? Do you buy full size, all at once, or scale in? Okay, it depends upon the setup. And I think you have, it depends upon the setup, it depends upon the instrument. So like, for example, we just got done talking about oil. You might want to put on a third right now and put a third on short if you're trading this, you know, to the downside. The other thing you could have done this morning on the low is you could have added long. Okay, so it depends upon your style of trading, but what I do with volatile instruments, especially RBOB and heating oil, is I scale in a third, I wait for a confirmation, I scale in another third. When it starts ripping to the upside, I scale in another third. Other instruments where it's quieter, like bonds, okay, when we were at the top of that triangle, I had a full position on, okay, and I'm off a third, or I'm off 2/3 right now on the bond trade. So, you know, I think it's up to you and your style of trading in terms of how you do your thing, okay? But, you know, setups that are volatile, setups where I'm looking at a radical turn or a sharp turn, I'm in a third. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for a lower high on oil, and then I'll probably put on some more, okay? But, you know, it really, you have to, I don't know how to say this, Jack, but it has to do with your comfort level. Okay, the worst place for a trader to be, worst place, is when you scale in all at once and then you get a news announcement and you're underwater, you know, $3 on oil, okay? You're not going to sleep well at night. So, you know, I think about my head and how do I keep my head straight, and how I keep my head straight is I put on size where I'm comfortable, okay? And I can sleep at night, I don't have to worry. And by the way, you trade better that way, and at least that's how I think about it. So anyway.
Well, I think the reality is if you're sweating and you're nervous, you trade worse.
Oh yeah,
there's
no question.
Trading is something you need to do cool, calm, and collected.
Yep.
You make all the best.
So Darren, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please ask another one. Lots of long positions in gold. Do you think this flush would have capitulated a lot of those longs? Well, of course it did. That's why it went down. I mean, you know, what we had was a squeeze. So, you know, and by the way, that squeeze, and this is what I say about squeezes, I've said this a lot in the past, where you get a big radical squeeze, guess what? There's no resistance there. Or in the case of gold, there's not going to be much resistance on the way up, okay? It's not market action. It's a reaction. There's nothing there, okay? So, and you got to keep that in mind. I'm sorry, Jack, go ahead.
That's why return to the scene of the crime rallies tend to be pretty easy.
Yep.
You haven't really created anything on the way down. It's pretty easy to just get back there.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks. So you're welcome. No problem. Okay. Could you go over SPX? So do you have an SPX chart handy, Jack? I got mine handy here too.
Most definitely.
Yep.
So hang on. I'm just going to have a look. I'll just show the setups on the 60-minute and the 15-minute chart. Obviously, we've had no support breaks. We didn't have them yesterday. We didn't have them today either. And so what we're looking at here, and you can see it best on the 15-minute chart, this is the triangle. And it's a nice triangle. We're not actually making any significant movement up in this direction here, but this is a nice flag. This is promising for tomorrow. If this flag was to make it to the full target, the full flag target would actually be in the vicinity of triangle resistance. Obviously, we've had some wildly boring afternoons. I had a sell signal here, and I just called it off 40 minutes later because the tape just died. And then 3 hours later it had declined enough to make the possible near miss target on a 1-minute sell signal. So I mean this was dead tape, but this was forming a flag. That's promising for tomorrow. I would really like to see this play out. I'm very concerned about the time because I think the high window ends tomorrow.
Yep.
And I think we might. I mean, it's possible we might spill through into Monday, but I mean, really, we're counting the hours now. If the bulls are actually going to get a break up from this triangle, they've really got to step on it.
Yep.
Because we're running out of time. So if we, that's not the only support level. This is the triangle support level, and that's the main one in my view. We also have a perfect rising channel, and we've got one of these on ES and SPX. And given that ES is open for a lot of hours and SPX isn't, that's a very strong confirmation. When I've got these 2 support trend lines here. When they break, the downside is on.
Yep.
And I was giving the levels on those this morning. I showed them on my ES chart, showed them on the SPX chart in my post today. And these are the key support levels for me. I would really like to see this play out, but in the event that they're not going to, we'll know when they break these levels.
Yep, agreed. I want to show the chart, Jack, because I'm going to show 2 triangles, and it's worth going over these.
One last thing on this chart. You see this falling wedge here on RSI? That's a really, really, really encouraging pattern. We're running out of time, but that's really encouraging. Notice how we're up at wedge resistance here. That just needs to break up. Give us a nice move. We've got a cycle trend day tomorrow. We could do it.
Yep.
This wedge is telling us that it's definitely on the table. Whether it can be delivered, I don't know. We'll see.
There are 2 triangles here. Now I'm going to show you both. And here's the one on SPX. This is the bearish triangle. Okay, so if this is a B wave triangle, that's what I would call it. Okay, so we have the high window here, high window here. The thing about cycles is you know where the high cycles are and the low cycles are in a chart, and they typically play out on certain instruments fairly reliably. But the problem with them is you don't know which one is the higher high. You don't know which one is the lower high. You don't know, okay? We've seen high windows like this before that play out in triangles. We saw one on bonds, okay? And then when the high window ended, guess what? The triangle broke, okay? Could we break up here? Yes. Could we break down here? Yes. And my lean at this point, and I'm just going to say this, if I look at the SPX chart, my lean is lower. And it's because, look at the weekly pivot on cash, okay? It has been resistance once, resistance twice, resistance 3 times. Unless we break on cash, we have to break 2165. We don't break 2165, this is going to resolve lower, okay? And so you got to pay attention to where resistance is, and by the way, it's been demonstrated 3 times. So, you could read a lot into a chart, but as Jack said, we really have to pay attention to breaking the lower triangle support or the upper triangle resistance. This is pretty close to a 50-50. Now I'll show you the flip side of this, okay? There's always 2 sides to a trade, and it's good as a trader to have a 2-sided brain, okay? This is the bullish pattern, okay? So we have a 3 up for an A, we have an A, we have a B, we have an A, 3 waves up for a B, C, D, E, and are we going to thrust higher? Well, we could tonight. By the way, look at the inverted head and shoulders here. Look at the shoulder. Look at the line I just drew there, which is basically a shoulder. We break above that, which is basically breaking above the, and for me, a confirmed break is the left shoulder. So we break above 59s. We could see the trend line, then find support, and then go higher. So just keep that in mind. ES is going to give us some clues tonight, and here's my bias. We didn't get a trend day today. It opens up higher odds for a trend day tomorrow. Okay, so, and I have a clear cycle that ends this week. So we'll see what happens in the morning, and pay attention to the Twitter feed for sure. So that's it. 50-50 is what I'm saying. I think Jack's saying the same thing, and so that's it. Okay, oil back test to what point? Susan, I'm looking at 48s. Jack, what are you looking for?
That sounds fun to me.
Yep.
And I think
if you look at the previous, if you look to the left, okay, you're going to see a nice setup at 48s for a potential head and shoulder formation. Okay, so that's what I'm paying attention to. That's why 48s. No CL chart. Jack, did we show a CL chart? Thought we did, or did we just talk through it?
I think we just talked through it. I mean, I can show one.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what, let me throw you the screen. As an example of your trading with regards to GC, if you got long at 56s, would you place your stop roughly at 50, 1/3 times the daily ATR, which is 16? Yeah, that's a fine way to do it, okay? Or you use structure, Darren, okay? So let me give you an example of structure. Hold on, I'm just going to pull up, and we can get into this later after Jack finishes his chart, but I'll tell you what, let me park that question. I was trying to fill in time, Jack, while you pulled up your chart. Go ahead with your oil chart. Go ahead.
This has been a very strong move. This is a sell signal, doesn't make target, fails. Another one fixes, hasn't made target, and actually is on the verge of failing, but hasn't actually quite failed yet. This is one seriously strong move. We've actually broken this trend line here, and I think we are overthrowing above it, or at least we should be. Could it break higher? Yes, and if it does, then next resistance is the June high, and that's about 51.66 or something. It's that would be the next resistance. And we've only got a very little high window left. CL is being unusually obstructive, and at the end of the day, it turns when it turns. I'm pretty confident it will turn. It's very good at turning in the windows, and we've got a lot of negative divergence here. I think it's going to deliver, and when it delivers, chances are it's going to deliver pretty hard and fast. So, but it's just a ball waiting for it, and I hate it when it does this, but it does it quite regularly.
Yep.
But this is the CL chart I posted this morning. I do these. I do these morning and night.
Yep. Let's. I tell you what. Let me answer the GC question. I have my GC chart up. Okay, so we went over ATR, using ATR in a webinar, and I use ATR a lot for managing stops because it flexes with the market. The more volatile the market, the wider your stops are going to be, which makes sense because if you're using like a two-handle stop in a very volatile market, well, guess what? It's not going to work. So, Jack, could you throw the chart? I'm going to show the gold chart real quick. Okay, thank you.
No worries. Throwing it over.
Yep. All righty. Okay, so what I was saying was you should also pay attention to structure, not just price. So here's an example of what I mean by structure. Okay, so we are in a potential flat. Okay, so we have a W and an X and a 1, 2, unmistakable 3. We opened Pandora's box. We have a 3. Look at the low in RSI. Okay, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we said watch for a marginal new low, and we got it. Okay, so you could also play structure here, which is a 5 down would measure to 1245. Okay, so use fibs because fibs help you. Okay, now what is a flat? A WX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a reversal structure. So the chances are that we can break Y. Okay, because it's a flat. Okay, so that's what I mean by recognize your patterns and recognize your structure, because right here you can, like, for example, I'm long right now. I'm not long heavy. I'm long half a position. I'm going to add if it goes lower. Okay, so this turn is going to be a V bottom of some sort. We'll see how it goes. But returning to the scene of the crime, I think is kind of what we're expecting. So that's my comments on gold. Do you see silver turning tomorrow? What do you think, Jack? Jack?
I think it's going to turn with gold still.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, the thing on this chart as well, remember that the high window has already started. Okay, so the high window is going to play out. We'll see how high it goes, if it gets to 61s or whatever, but we'll see. Okay, maybe after the hurricane. Deborah. Oh, I think you're probably talking about the hurricane in Florida, right? Which might have an effect on oil prices. Yeah, could be. Could be. Okay. Any other questions?
Just Does that usually have an effect on oil prices?
It does sometimes, especially when a number of rigs get knocked out. I mean, we had we had Katrina come through the Gulf of Mexico, and it really did a lot of damage. So you know, it does have an effect, but it's not a long-term thing. It's just a short-term thing.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for questions so far. Jack, anything else you want to chat about while we're here?
Yeah, I just want to show one thing. For everyone that's got chart back, I'm just going to make one further observation on oil.
Okay, cool. There you
go. All right. Now, this is the daily chart. Not actually quite as neat as I like them. This is the next resistance if we blow through here. This is the June high. It's at 51.67. What I would say is, you're probably thinking this is looking a bit like a cup with handle. Actually, it's not. This. By the time we retest this high, which we are likely to, we will have actually completed a full-size IHS. So, in the event that we failed there. If it breaks up, I've got a target, I think, somewhere in the, let's say it was in the 75 area. It's pretty high.
There's a 3-up target, 100% fib at 52.47, which actually the channel perfectly.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the bigger picture.
Okay.
So, yeah, on the bigger picture, what I'm looking at is this. Yep. Right, this is an inverted head and shoulder pattern. You got the left shoulder, you got the right, you got the head, you got the right shoulder forming now, and by the time we get up to retest this June high at 51.67, we will have completed the inverted head and shoulders. If that breaks up, that's got a target in the 76/77 area. Stan is then talking about a return back to, I think you were talking about, do you want a retest of 39 or a retest of 43?
41s is what I'm looking for as the retest once this impulse finishes, which I do think we're going to see 52, 51, 52, that area, but I think 52s are more likely. And then a back test. We're going to get a pretty good back test off this rally. We are extended. There is no question we are overbought at this point.
Oh no, definitely. What I would say is that's going to be something I'm watching with interest for the alternate scenario, because the alternate scenario is this. This is the right shoulder low. In the event that it gets beyond this, what it would normally do is you would count the inverted head and shoulders as failed, because of course we'll probably have had a slight break up through the neckline, or at the very least we'll have a completed pattern. And if it broke that back down below this with any force at all, I'd be expecting a retest of this, which is the bear market low. So that's worth watching for the, and at that stage you see, this is no longer a right shoulder, it's a double top.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worth bearing in mind, not expecting that to play out, but that is the alternate bear scenario in the event that we get down to 41 and we don't stop. So just wanted to mention that.
Yep, makes sense. Do you find that fibs on Apple, Facebook, etc. are a little bit more sloppy than indices and commodities? Actually, no. I find that the more volatile the instrument, the more sloppy they are with fibs. Okay, so for example, Apple and Facebook and even Amazon, they conform to fibs very well. As a matter of fact, Jack, let me show a quick example or two.
Sure. I think my personal experience of fibs on Apple is it's pretty good on fibs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Seen a lot of nice fibs on Apple.
Yep. I can just show you real quick. And by the way, you know, we project targets, and we projected a target up here, and guess what? We are through that target, but guess what? There's a 3 up, and of course what I'm doing here is I'm showing you the fib. 3 up here, A, B. Where's the B? It's here somewhere. And there it is. So you can see we're looking at 848 as 100% fib. So, you know, I keep things simple. I look for 3-wave moves. We're there at a 3-wave move at a high on Amazon, and this is a nice setup in my opinion. Apple, we have the same thing. We have, and let me take you in on a shorter term chart because a lot of you are shorter term traders. But you know, here we got a 3 down in Apple. First of all, here's the 618. Okay, of this move, okay, which is the typical target after a Y and an X, okay? You get a 5-wave move to the 618 right to target, right? Here's a 3 back right to 111, just about hit it, pretty close. And we have this little sideways triangle thing, which as long as we stay above weekly pivot, I'm expecting a marginal new high, which is 116. So, you know, we'll see if we get 116. We may not. We may turn on a dime and go down. But fibs work. And I would say this, the more complicated you make them, the more difficult it is going to be to use them in any useful fashion. I've gotten very simple with it, and it works for me. So so that's that. Anything else you want to say about fibs with Apple, Jack?
No, they work,
Okay.
and equally, the KISS principle applies to lots of things. I mean, the end, I want to simplify things past the level at which it's possible, because at that stage you're making a nonsense of it. But at the end of the day, you want the tool that you're using all the time to be as easy to use as possible.
Yep.
Otherwise, it restricts your ability to get through stuff.
Okay, what's your sense of cattle, Jack? Are you expecting a low retest on cattle?
I'm wondering about it. Seeing some negative divergence. I've got a very nice looking potential double top form there at the moment, and I'm wondering seriously about a retest of the lows. I think if in the event that we see a break back down through 101.9 with any form at that stage, we're probably going to retest. In the interim though, we do have an alternate scenario, which is that in the 103.75 to 104.75 area, we've got a potential IHS neckline, and it may just be that the retracement is going to make the right shoulder on that IHS.
Yep, very good. And I just want to add just one comment to that: is the low window is over tomorrow in in live cattle. So, and this low window is not your average low window. This is an 18-month cycle low. Okay, so, and by the way, the seasonal low for cattle is right about this time of year in the September-October time period. So,
well, that would favor the IHS scenario then, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
so,
I absolutely agree with that. So yeah, retests are common. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 50 back here and then higher. Okay, I think that's it for questions, Jack.
All right.
Anything else you want to cover while we're here?
I think you were going to say, did you say what you needed to on recurring memberships and so on?
It's worth just mentioning that. I think everybody probably has heard from both of us that the daily update is going to be, the price is going to go up to $149. We're raising it because of the way we've enhanced the service. So it's a day trading and a swing trading service. You get 2 videos, evening and morning and all the rest of it. So $149 is what we're raising it to, and everybody here gets whatever you're paying today. Okay. The only folks we will have a technical difficulty with are those of you who are paying monthly. Okay, so I would encourage you, get a PayPal subscription or get a monthly credit card subscription. You can get a credit card subscription, it works. And do whatever you need to do around that, because as of Sunday, after Sunday, we won't be able to accommodate you. If you're an annual person, we will certainly be able to accommodate you in terms of renewing an annual membership down the road, okay? That's not going to be an issue. But I just want to make sure everybody knows about it, so we're over-communicating about it. I don't want to have any surprises. So
I know, but it's best not to have any surprises. So all of you who are on a recurring membership, don't even give it a thought. Not something you're going to have to worry about at all, but it's the ones of you who actually are doing a manual renewal of your memberships every month with a credit card and aren't on a automatically recurring membership. Those are the ones where it's going to be a problem, because of course you've got to really go through the shopping cart, and that's going to be at a new price. So what I would do is I would switch it over to a recurring membership. You can do that on a credit card now. You can do it through PayPal as well. It's very easy, straightforward. I would recommend strongly that you do it. Because we can with the annuals, what we'll do is when one comes up, if it's a non-recurring annual, which many of them are, then we're just going to make sure it gets, we'll make the special effort to make sure it gets renewed at the same price. But the thing is, we're not talking about several of those every month.
Yeah, right.
And it's
right.
They're rarer.
Yep, absolutely agree. Okay, that said, I think that's a wrap. No more questions, Jack. And everybody, you're welcome. Thank you for the questions. And I think this is a good review for subscribers and new people and et cetera, et cetera. So great job as always, Jack. Thank you.
Pleasure as always, mate.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.